Here's a big twist. We're reviewing a Stephen King movie that's actually not scary. Well, sort of. We're going to be reviewing quite possibly his most critically acclaimed work that has turned to quite possibly what many consider to be one of the greatest movies of all time, The Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, classic Morgan Freeman. I'm
Tim
blanking on the
Robbins.
cast. Tim Robbins. Yeah, it's
We also have Clancy Brown, who people from our generation would know as Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob.
oh,
Also,
they
Lex
gave me the
Luthor, I
money.
believe.
Yep, he played the main security guy.
Uh, that was him.
That was him, yeah.
Yep.
I've never put that together. That's him,
No,
and
I
I've
saw
seen
the
him in
credit.
other
I'm like,
stuff.
no, I saw the credit. I'm like, ooh, I wonder who he plays. And then when we showed the guard, I'm like, oh yeah, that's definitely him.
I could tell he was the voice for Lex Luthor in the DC animated universe.
And that one
Just
guy in Avatar.
Oh yeah, I kind of remember that.
He was
So
also Savage Opress in the Clone Wars.
yeah, that's true. So basically, if you don't know the story of Shawshank Redemption, so it's basically revolving around the friendship that is formed between Andy Dufresne, who is sentenced to life for killing his wife, and Red, played by Morgan Freeman, and
by the way, wrongly imprisoned.
okay,
Yes,
yes,
he's
wrongly
wrongfully
imprisoned.
imprisoned for it. Yeah.
Um, so basically, it mostly goes over the bond they form and the impact that Andy makes on everybody around him. Now, I will admit there are some parts I do forget. Like, I did forget how for a moment that. Okay, so I think we should just say full disclosure. This movie is fantastic. Am I right?
Oh yeah, it is a like I know people
Yes.
who say this is the best movie of all time. I wouldn't go that far, but I do think it's a really good movie.
I think it's really close though, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, very close.
Now, I remember this movie. I remember looking up the trivia for this movie. This was nominated for quite a few Oscars, but never won any of them. But honestly, I don't
Also, it
think. Sorry, go ahead,
it
Patrick.
also it also flopped in the box office. Sorry for interrupting you, Will.
No, 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 it's okay.
I never knew it flopped.
Yeah, for a movie that has gotten quite a bit of a reputation over the years, very good reputation too, might I add. Because I think people enjoy it mostly for like the psychological aspect, like for what life is truly like inside prison, and then once you get out, it's really never the same.
Yeah.
But I think one thing that stood out a little bit is that is a point. This is very small spoilers. Where Andy does gain the respect of not only his cellmates or his prison mates, but the guards and even the warden himself for a little bit of the movie.
Yeah, in the story, isn't he like in there for like 20 years? Is that right?
I think that's
20.
also the same in. I don't know if it's the same in the movie or not.
Hmm.
Maybe they changed it up a little bit. I can't remember.
Okay. Yeah, I forget how long he's in there, but he's in there for a really long time. Like a
Yeah,
huge chunk of his life goes by while he's in that prison. And that's kind of the hardships of people who are in prison is that on the outside, life goes on. We all move on, have our families, get new jobs, move away. So it's not the same when they get out. It is hard. I can actually relate to that a little bit because when I was in high school, or when I was starting high school, I kind of moved across country. And then 5 years after that, I moved back to Texas. And a lot of my friends down here, and I actually also have some cousins who live down here, they had all gotten older and they'd grown up a bit. So I felt like I had, and yeah, I saw them on occasion and stuff when I came down to visit and stuff, but it felt like time had really, a lot of time had gone by since I had been in Texas. And that was kind of cathartic, but in time I managed to adapt and I've rebuilt a lot of these relationships.
Aw.
I think you guys have met Anna before on the channel. I think she's a good example of that.
Mm-hmm.
I think another thing. Sorry, Patrick, were you gonna say something?
No.
But I think another thing that I think uh, might be interesting to know is that it's actually been almost 10 years since I think we've graduated high school. I don't know what you guys, um,
2014. So yeah,
10
it was
years is
close.
coming up. And obviously, the people we knew back then have clearly done a lot. Like they probably moved away. They have they have a career that's taking off. They're getting married. They're starting a family. Like a lot. It can happen in only
Yeah,
a couple.
actually, true story. Going off what you're saying, Will. Um, I'm sorry if I'm interrupting you. Am I?
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
Okay. A couple weeks ago, a friend of mine from high school, I found out was visiting a cousin down here in Austin. So we met up for coffee, and I was able to catch up with him. And he's been in touch with other friends from high school, so I was able to ask how they were doing and stuff. And it was really nice to see him. He's actually thinking about moving back down here, and he's going to keep me in the loop.
Okay.
So it was exciting, yeah.
Yeah.
That also that also reminds me of something else. So about 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I went up to my old high school because it was a fall festival. I
Mm.
was hoping to see maybe some old friends, maybe and some old teachers, and there were. I recognized there were some people I saw, but not the people I wanted. Like some of my favorite teachers are retired. I at least saw one or two familiar faces who were students or classmates. But I, it was the school had also been remodeled a bit, so it was pretty much one big building instead of being the auditorium and lunchroom being in one spot and the classes and gym being in another building just about 30 feet away. They closed that gap up. I mean, they closed it up after I left high school and came back after college, but it's different.
Yeah,
It was a sobering
it
fall
is kind
festival.
of cathartic. Going back to a place you went a used to go to a lot, and then just seeing how much it's changed.
Yeah.
No. Sorry, Patrick. Go ahead.
It was I was not as fun as I had hoped it would be.
I'm sorry, buddy.
No, I remember going back to a landmark after like 7 years since I've left there. Um, and all the people I talked to that I recognized, they've all been doing so much, and a lot has actually changed since that's where we all met, and we've created quite a few good memories there.
Yeah, and that's why I love doing these reviews with you guys, is that we all kind of get to stay in touch through them.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I hope we can do this until we're like really old.
We'll see. We'll cross that bridge if we get there.
I think we could do it.
It will be quite the
Um,
Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah. So anyway, after that depressing dialogue, but yeah, this movie is just great. It has great set design. I think is there tours of that prison that you can do, or am I just thinking of something else?
I don't know.
I wouldn't
I mean,
know.
I know I've read a lot of Stephen King books. I will admit I haven't read every single one, and Shawshank is a blind spot. I have not read the book.
Really?
Yeah.
I read the
I've
book
I've read
once.
book. If you know Stephen King's work, you know he interconnects his books, so like they'll reference each other, and they're all part of like the same fictional universe. And I've read books where the events of Shawshank are mentioned or heavily alluded to, or it's or the prison itself is mentioned. Like a couple of weeks ago, we did it. Shawshank is mentioned in that book. One of the characters ends up being arrested for the murders and ends up in Shawshank.
Ooh. Oh yeah,
The three boys who attack Adrian Mellon, was that his name? The gay guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those guys end up in Shawshank.
Okay. But anyways, yeah, it has some great set design, some really fantastic performances. I really like the music from Thomas Newman. I feel like he's a guy who can do no wrong in terms of a musical score. I liked him in 1917. He did Finding Nemo, which was really good. He did Cinderella Man, which I thought is really good. Yeah, he does a really good job with music, and each time there's a movie that has his name in the music, I'm like, yeah, I think that was pretty good. Now, another thing I wanted to mention is that uh, I think we can all agree that this is quite possibly one of Morgan Freeman's best performances ever.
Indeed.
I mean, that's a guy who can literally do no wrong in any movie.
He is an amazing actor. Have you ever seen Red?
What?
The movie Red? He was in that.
Oh yeah, he was.
Yeah, I actually don't like those movies.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. He's off in that movie, but that's impressive still.
Okay, so he's perfect in almost every single movie he's in.
Yeah. He dies in the first movie too. Spoilers. So
okay.
Thank you for that, Jessup.
So it's just one off
feeling.
performance. That's still impressive.
What was that, Patrick?
Thanks for spoiling that, Jessup. Now I won't be able to watch it.
I don't think they're very good movies.
Well, they are good enough to get sequels.
It only got one sequel.
Hey, the fact that it got one sequel is pretty impressive.
Fair enough. I mean, yeah, sure.
But
maybe there's something in the first movie I missed.
Yeah, so I think there's really not a lot we can say that hasn't really been said before. I mean, I think we covered pretty much the big aspects of it.
Okay.
Prison life is terrible.
There is one. There is one moment that I think is really interesting, where we follow this man named Brooks, and this will go into small spoilers. So basically, he had this bond with this crow that, and when he is released, he has to let the crow go. And when he goes out into the real world, then he realizes it's not what he imagined, and he really prefers the life back at Shawshank, which I think could really stand out. It really stands out, and I think it's really interesting. It might be the most powerful part of the movie, in my opinion.
It's played tragically. He's unable to adapt to life outside of prison, and
it is hard for people who have been like locked up away from society to reintegrate with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, look how we all struggled, like what we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, but yeah, like I said, I think there's not really a whole lot else we could say that hasn't been said already, because this movie is amazing. Like, I think I could consider this movie a masterpiece, probably. And I might read the book again. If we have it in here, we have a huge Stephen King collection here.
Yeah, it's not. I am literally on my computer. My bookshelf is right across the room from me, and I have like a whole section of Stephen King books, and I don't even see Shawshank on there.
Okay.
So I don't have it.
So I think, unless we squeeze out another review in the last 2 days of Stephen King month, which I think might be a little bit hard, I do have an idea we could do just in time for Halloween. Maybe it'll be a little bit late, but who knows?
I mean, if we go into November a little bit, that's fine, I guess, because we did start this a little late too.
Yeah. So do you guys have any closing thoughts?
No, I'm good.
I'm good.
Okay, so
What's your idea,
what was that?
What's your idea? Give us a little preview.
So I actually thought, in the spirit of Halloween, I thought everybody that joins us could make a list of their 5 favorite movies to watch around Halloween.
Okay.
Now, here's the catch, though. It doesn't have to be just horror movies. It could be like, anything that you feel like could be appropriate to watch around Halloween. So, like, say, Nightmare Before Christmas, Coraline, Get Out, if you consider that.
I consider Sweeney Todd is definitely on my list.
Ooh, Sweeney Todd's a lovely movie.
Swing your razor wide.
So I think we can have a lot of fun
Sweeney.
with this.
Swing your
I
razor
have a couple ideas I want to run by you guys when we get done here.
Okay.
into the sky.
Okay, so
Like the blood to those who mourn.
Bravo. Give him the Tony Award already.
Yeah.
All
A
right,
remake of
so
Sweeney Todd with Patrick as Todd. We need
Oh.
that.
That would be
so I
nice.
don't really have a quote for the end here. Do you guys?
Yeah, I don't really.
No.
All right, so we will see you guys for our favorite Halloween movies.